It's fair to say that Resogun has left our lives in tatters. We can't eat, sleep, or conduct anything resembling a functioning social life in the wake of our November Game of the Month winner, and who can blame us? It's an outstanding game, and a free one to boot. So if you have a PS4 and aren't playing it, or even if you are, we've compiled a list of tips to help you reach that life-altering crisis of hair loss and going to the toilet in a bucket that'll surely have what's left of your loved ones staging an emotional intervention as you stare blankly at the TV. Enjoy! Choose your ship wisely. Perhaps the most important point in this entire list, piloting a ship that doesn't match your playstyle is akin to wearing ill-fitting, non-matching shoes and attempting to enjoy a game of tennis. Firstly, you've got Nemesis, also known as the Speedy Bugger. What it lacks in firepower, Nemesis makes up for in speed and boost ability. If you're more likely to flee than fight, it's probably the ship for you. Ferox, the bog standard, is completely balanced on all fronts. It moves at average speeds with an average boost ability and an overdrive capability that's simply, well, average. Finally, you've got Phobos. The Wham Bam Tank You Ma'am is a little on the sluggish side, but it deals some serious damage and features an overdrive that is invaluable in later levels and on higher difficulties. Definitely our ship of choice. It's also worth bearing in mind that the weapon power-ups you acquire during your run will affect the different ships in differing ways based on their stats. Save the last humans. No, we're not entirely sure what happened to the humans either, but saving the fluorescent green jelly babies provides you with points, lives, and bombs. More often than not, you're required to simply destroy each of the glowing keeper ships to free a human, but occasionally there are some obligations you must meet in order to free them, with some demanding you have a score multiplier above a certain level, and others having you take out the keepers in a specific order. It's true that it's impossible to know if a human requires a particular score multiplier, and even harder to know what level of multiplier that is without looking it up. But fortunately, the keepers that necessitate you destroy them in order are far easier to spot. As usual, they'll be glowing green, but the order you kill them in will be dictated by a crosshair that surrounds them. While a bit of a pain, saving the more awkward humans will often reward you with something more valuable than points. So get saving. Don't fear the boost. This may sound like a no-brainer, but don't forget about it. If you find yourself in a spot of bother, don't be afraid to zoom out of there. Plus, it's almost always a one-hit kill on enemies, which can make it an invaluable offensive weapon when you're out of options. Also note that you can change direction while boosting, and the longer you hold the boost for and the more enemies you smash through, the bigger the explosion that erupts from your ship when you stop, eradicating all foes in its radius. Equally, getting caught with your pants down, i.e. attempting to boost while it's recharging, can really scupper a high score attempt, so pay close attention to the blue semicircle above your ship, which indicates how long you have to wait between uses. Shooting behind you. Lots of people are only comfortable to shoot in the direction they're moving. But if, for example, there are a group of spawning enemies descending upon you from above and to your right, try and move through them while shooting behind you. It'll feel weird at first, but once you've mastered it, the extra spatial awareness you gain will become a huge asset. Don't waste power-ups. It's tempting to use bombs to clear a screen of enemies, but you should always employ our trusty friend Boost to get out of there. And if you've reached the stage where enemies are abundant enough to fill your screen, you'll have likely picked up a few weapon power-ups, so you'll be more than capable of boosting and shooting until they're no more. However, this is a double-pronged tip in that you must avoid losing all your lives and getting a game over screen with an inventory full of bombs. We know how tempting it is to hoard them and wait to unleash them on a boss, but if you've reached a point where you're dying, you could have almost certainly done with deploying a bomb. It's finding the right balance between conservation and usage that'll give you a competitive edge. Don't waste them, but know when the time is right. Save your overdrive. Overdrive is the most devastating power you possess, and as such should be treated with the reverence it deserves. It's entirely possible to use it early on in the level and have it recharged by picking up the green blobs that destroyed enemies leave behind by the time the boss rolls around, but you should avoid taking that risk where possible. It's extremely effective against all the bosses in one manner or another, and that's the reason why we saw a relentlessly challenging veteran difficulty run through to completion without using overdrive on any foe other than the bosses. Become one with the ship. This may not seem like the most useful advice, but you may find that after 20 minutes or so of play, you'll enter the fabled zone, and everything will begin to go your way. While here, rather than boost or retreat from an enemy or boss's excessive fire, try to focus and weave your way through it, thus allowing you to be afforded far more opportunities to deal some serious damage. Take a break. No, really. There's literally no point in getting frustrated if things simply aren't happening for you. Just walk away and come back with a fresh perspective. After leaving a highly irritating attempt at finishing the campaign on Veteran, we left it for a couple of hours before returning to breeze through 3 levels in a row with almost no issues. So do take that under consideration. And there we have it. If you're not yet an emotionless husk, hopefully these hints and tips will send you well on your way. Let's just get Christmas out of the way, yeah? For your family? If there are any tips or hints we haven't covered here, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. And as always, thanks for watching.